wasn't right, guys. Hello. We're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. This is the first full Shabbat of the fall 2026 semester. We're going to start with Hinei Matov. Hinei Matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hinei Matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei Matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hinei Matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. We'll now open the Siddurim to the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, the beginning of the element of our service on Friday nights where we are welcoming our Shabbat. We're on page 252. We will sing the first two verses of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh of Harachaman Mishoch Avdach El Ritzonach Yarutz Avdach Kemo Huayah Ishtachave El Mul Adarach Yeravo Yedidutach Minofet Suv Bechotzam. Second verse. Adornahem Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Ahavatach Ana Elna Mufana Allah Harola Noam Zivach Az Titchazek V'titrapeh V'haitzah lach shivchat olam. Thank you, guys. We'll turn. Does everyone have a kippah? Who needs a kippah? Does everyone have a siddur? Who needs a siddur? All right, we're all here together. This is on the top of page 254 for Lechu Nirana. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Naria, litzor yishenu, nikadma fanav b'todah. Naria, litzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, ladonai. We'll continue silently until we get to the box, about a third of the way down the page. Arba'im shana kupidor, v'omaram to'ele v'avheim, v'heim lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati v'api, im yivo'uhun el menuchati. Before we continue, I just want to say something really quick, and that is that when I ask you to read silently, when I ask you to follow along, it is totally fine. In fact, it may even be encouraged if your Hebrew is not particularly fluent, to read it in the English. This should be a conversation. This should be something that you understand why and how it is that we are praising God throughout this entire service, certainly, but definitely in this Kabbalat Shabbat component of it. And now we'll turn to page 257 for when the Lord is. I'm going to ask our springboard, Charlie Weingarten, to read responsively for when the Lord is King. You can come up here.
Oh. If I haven't met you yet, hi, I'm Charlie. Okay. When the Lord is King, the world rejoices. His throne is founded on justice. Though he be clouded from view, his justice reveals him. His lightning illuminates the globe. Fire consumes his foes. Mountains melt like wax in his presence. The earth trembles. The heavens proclaim his righteousness. All the people behold his majesty. Shame covers those who worship images, who pride themselves on nothingness. Zion rejoices. The cities of Judah are glad when they hear your judgments, Lord. You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped. Those who love the Lord hate evil. He protects the faithful, saves them from the wicked. Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable. Let the righteous rejoice in the Lord, praising his holy name.
Thank you very much, Charlie. And now we will continue on page 260 with Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu Ladonai b'nei Elim, Havu Ladonai kavod va'oz, Havu Ladonai kivod shemo, Ishtachavu Ladonai v'hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei havanon, Vayarkidem kimo egel, Livanon v'siryon, kimo ben reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavodesh, Kol Adonai midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol le'ayalot, Vayachesof yarot uv'heichalo kulo meher kavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. That's what happens when I take my eye off the page for a second. You know, even something that I have sung and that I have led hundreds of times, if I'm not fully paying attention, which I suppose is a good metaphor for how we should be intent with our prayer, I lose my place. We're now on page 262, where we will sing every other verse of L'cha Dodi on page 262 and then on page 264. And continuing the metaphor of Shabbat as a bride that we are welcoming in for the weekend. When we get to the last verse, we will all stand, we will face the rear of the room, and we will recite that verse facing back as if we were welcoming the bride down the aisle. L'cha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela, L'cha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shab v'zachor v'dibor echad, kishmiyanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'mitzvah, L'cha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela, L'cha Dodi likrat kala third verse, Mikdash. Mikdash, Melechi, Melecha, Umitzei, Mitocha, Fecha, Lakshevet, Mekabacha, Uyachol, Laichem, Lachadoti, Mikrat Kala, Vinisabas, Mikavila, Lachadoti, Mikrat Kala, Vinisabas, Mikavila. Last verse on page 262 at Tito Ruri. Kiva Orech Kumori, Ruri Shir Taberi, Kibble Adonai like me, Lechadoti, Mikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mikavila, Lechadoti, Mikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat. Let's all turn the page to the second verse on page 264. L'chayu. L'chayu. L'shisa shosayich. L'rachaku b'memolayich. Yasisalayich Elohayich. Usos katana kala. L'chadoti. L'ikrat kala. B'nei Shabbat. L'ikavit. If you all will now please rise and face the rear of the room. The verse that is Bo'i v'shalom. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzola. Toch emunei am segula, Bo'i chala, l'chadoti. You can turn back around. Mikrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, Mikavila, l'chadoti. Mikrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, Mikavila. And now, thank you. You may be seated as we turn to page 268. This sort of is going to be mark the moment at which we are concluding the Kabbalat Shabbat. And we're going to enter the actual evening service. On the top of 268 in Hebrew, you can certainly follow along in the English on the top of page 269. Adonai malachti lavesh Adonai osit hazar af tikun devel bal timut nachum kisach meyaz melamata nasun harot Adonai nasun harot kolam yusun harot dochyam bikulat mayim rabim adirim mishbreyam adir b'marom Adonai erotechan emnemeyo levetchan avakodesh Adonai laorech yamin. And with that, we can wave goodbye to the first full week of classes. Wave goodbye to whatever stresses were in our life during this first week. And we can enter the evening service. And with that, we will turn to page 269. I lied to you. 279 for Baruch. And please rise. Yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie. Sing with me if you want. Yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie lie lie. One more time. Yalla lie lie lie, yalla lie And I will recite the first line. You'll respond with the second line, to which I will also respond. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Second line. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Please be seated. I don't know if anyone's ever wondered why I turn around for Baruch Hu. It's because it feels odd to be bowing towards you guys and not towards the east and towards the ark. So that's why I turn around. We're at the top of page 280. This is the first blessing before the Shema. And when we get to the Shema, the central prayer of our religion, I will talk in a little bit more depth about it. Top of 280. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'dvaro ma'ari v'aravim b'chochma p'tech she'arim uvitfunem asher itif ma'chalivot hazmanim umsader chochavim b'mishmerotehem b'rakir kirtzono b'rayom v'layla kol or mipnei choshek mipnei or ma'avir yom mivin layla mavdil b'nu mivin layla adonai tzvot shemo ochav kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And now to the second blessing before the Shema. Avat Olam, or the love of the world, the love of his people Israel. Top of page 282. Please sing along if you know it with me. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadita Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayeinu be'orech yameinu uvahem Nege Yomam Balayla Ve'ahavtecha al ta'asir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. And with that, we come now to the main event of at least this part of the service. This is the prayer that we recite 3 times a day. This is the prayer that is our equivalent to the Lord's Prayer, but earlier and better. This is the prayer that reflects our commitment to God, our commitment to our religion. And because it is so central, so important to us as a Jewish people, we're going to recite it together, Shema and V'ahavta together in Hebrew on 284, followed by together in English on 285. So, here we go. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Next line silently. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu advarim ha'eter Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Alevavecha V'shinantam Levanecha V'dibarta Bam V'shivtecha B'veitecha Uvlechtecha V'aderech Uvshochbecha Uvkumecha Uvshartam Le'ot Al Yadecha V'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha. Together in English, starting at the top of 285. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Praised be his glorious sovereignty throughout all time. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. You shall diligently teach them to your children. You shall recite them at home and away, morning and night. You shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, They shall be a reminder above your eyes, and you shall inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes, upon your gates. And as we turn to pages 286, 287, the Shema continues. We can read silently the sort of three paragraphs on 286, 87, Hebrew, English, dealer's choice, and I'll cue us when it is time to turn the page. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We'll turn now, after that lengthy passage of Hebrew or English, we'll read responsively on page 289 from Isaiah. So I'll read the first sort of non-italicized lines, and you'll respond to me with the italicized lines. 289. In time to come, the mount of the Lord's temple shall stand firm above the mountains, towering above the hills, and all the nations shall turn their attention to it.
Many nations shall go there, saying, Come, let us journey to the mount of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob, and he may teach us his ways, that we may walk in his paths.
For instruction shall be coming from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
He will decide the disputes between nations and arbitrate for the multitude of peoples.
They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor shall they experience war anymore.
Thank you. We'll turn now to the middle of page 290 from Mi Chamocha. So it's sort of about halfway through that paragraph of Hebrew. Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Ba'kodesh, Nohura Tehilot, O Seifele, Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe, Zehelianu V'Amru, Adonai Imloch Leolam Va'ed, V'ne'emar Kifata Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalo Miachazahak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Please turn now to page 294 for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat asot et Shabbat etot v'rituah. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat asot et Shabbat etot v'rituah. B'nei Uvein, B'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam, Vishamru B'nei Yisrael, et Shabbat, Asot et Shabbat, etot v'rituah. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz, Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat, asot et Shabbat etot v'rituah. Ubayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Yishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Asot et ha-Shabbat, et Totam v'Ritam. Sometimes I like to see how long it takes people to pick up on the break in that first line. It's really good. That felt really nice. This is the time in the service when I like to take a moment and speak about this week's Torah portion. My friends, I do want to reiterate and to welcome everyone back, or welcome everyone here for the first time. Congratulate you on making it through the first week of classes, whether it's your first week of classes or your last first week of classes. I know that it's tough readjusting to a normal, regular, somewhat average schedule. So hopefully the weekend of rest that we are now entering will feel well deserved. Last week, I spoke here about Parshat Kitetse. We talked about the Israelites going out onto the battlefield. That is what Kitetse means. And specifically how God was telling the Israelites, hey, you are going to inevitably, in fact, on purpose, encounter enemies on the battlefield. But, this is always the but in God's commandments, assuming that they continue to follow what God says, to uphold the laws, to continue to keep their traditions, they would be inevitably successful and they would take control of the promised land. It's pretty straightforward. This references communal success externally. And I thought, as I was preparing for this week, that it's very interesting that last week and this week are right next to each other, especially keeping in the back of our heads that we are not that far away from the high holidays. So last week talks about going out. This week's parsha is Kitavo, going in or entering. And I'm going to refer to this to some extent as the mirror image of last week. Less about you as a community follow God's commandments, but if you as individuals, all of you Israelites, if you follow God's commandments, you and the community will have success. This period of reflection that we're about to enter, I think really makes it important for us to learn the lessons from this parsha and really reflect on the ways in which we have responsibility to ourselves, have responsibility to the community, have responsibility to God. For anyone that is new here or perhaps does not think about my family life when you're not in this space, I have two young children. I have an almost 9-year-old son who I think is watching at home. Hi, Mason. And a 3-year-old daughter. It has been, of course, a joy to be their father. And my wife and I get to see them grow and develop. And it's amazing. But one of the most difficult things, one of the most difficult elements about being a parent is this idea that you cannot do whatever you want because it affects other people. True? You cannot do whatever you want because it affects other people. Why can't I eat this entire birthday cake myself? Well, other people want it. Also, you have some individual consequences there. That probably would not feel great on your stomach. And as this parsha progresses, I can really sort of divide it into a couple different parts. God says, if you follow the commandments individually, each of you will be blessed in the city and in the country. Meaning your home life will be good and your crops will grow. They will flourish and you will become prosperous. But if you do not, you will be cursed in the city and the country. What does this mean? How can we sort of take this lesson? And the reality is, if enough people are cursed in the city and the country, that has effects not just on the people, on those individuals, not just on those individual houses. That has effects on the community. The community can absorb somebody, an individual, here and there not following the rules. Community can continue. The traditions and the culture of a community can continue if the rule breakers are just one-offs. But when it's so many people acting rashly, acting for themselves, acting not in the best interests of what the whole community might need, then that's when the culture starts to fall apart. And as we begin this period, we should be sort of deep into this period of self-reflection. I want us all to spend some time thinking about how what we have done in the last year has affected those around us in a good way and a bad way. Hopefully, the good far outweighs the bad. And looking around this room, I'm confident that's the case. But we should always remember, and we should be cognizant, that we do not exist in a vacuum. We exist in a culture. We exist in a community. And that is, I think, the point that I wanted to get from this Parsha Ki Tavo. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue on the bottom of 294 with Chatzi Karish, followed by the silent Amida. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba b'amad yivrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'yemaru Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olam Me'amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitrumam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitala Shemei Nekudesha La'ela Min Kol Berchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata dahamiran b'yalma v'yemaru. Amen. We all will please rise. With the silent Amida, starting on page 296 and ending on page 302. You certainly are welcome to read it in the English or communicate with God, however feels most meaningful to you. When you are done, please be seated. At the top of 302. Shabbat Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Ki ata umelech Adon, Lecho HaShalom. Ki ata umelech Adon, Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. And now we will sing together, Misha Berach. So keep in your hearts anybody in your life, in your community, who needs healing of some variety. It does not need to be physical healing. It could be yourself, it could be someone you know, someone you love. Li shebeira avotei, Dor habracha leimotei. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Isheveira imotei, Kor habracha le'avotei. Was those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. As we hurtle towards the end of the service, we are on page 320 for Aleinu, and please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet kedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומי. Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efezulato, Kakatuv B'Torato, V'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mima'al, V'al haaretz mitachat einod. Turn the page. We're at the box in the middle of page 322. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz b'yom hahu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. Please remain standing for Mourners Cottage as a community on 300. That's 324. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. Ba'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chai achonu v'yom echonu chayeh dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agalar v'zman kariv v'yimru. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam v'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudashah. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Oseh shalom mimramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. And now you can be seated. Lots going on this week. On Sunday from 12 to 2, we have our first bagel break upstairs.
Brunch.
Bagel brunch?
Thank you.
Bagel brunch, I've been informed. It says break on my sheet, so that's why. Upstairs at Hill Off between 12 and 2. Please come have bagels, hang out. We are tabling on campus definitely on Wednesday, but also maybe Monday. Now that we can use the golf carts, maybe Monday as well. Monday from 4 to 6. We are anybody who plays musical instruments, come jam with Dan, our Israel fellow right there. Tuesday from 11 to 1, coffee and chat with Charlie, which will be at Weekday Coffee, which we used to be the Starbucks on the mall. 11 to 1, just stop by, hang out. On Wednesday at 6:30, we have our Nosh. Thursday at 3 o'clock is the first tailgate of the year. It is Bethune-Cookman comes to town, I think. And then next Friday is Shabbat. Anybody with anything that I missed? Okay.
The Nosh is Israeli food.
The Nosh is Israeli food. That's pretty common. Yeah. 326, we will conclude with Yigdal. The transliteration is on the opposite page, 327. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach Nimsa v'einet el metziuto echad v'ein yachid keyichudo ne'lam v'gam ein sof le'achduto ein lo demut haguf v'eino guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadmon l'chol davar asher nivra rishon v'ein reshit l'reshito hino aton olam v'chono hutzar yoreh gedulato u'malchuto shefa nevuato netano elan shesegulato v'tifarto lo kam b'Yisrael k'mo she'od Navi umabit et temunato Torat emet natan li'amoel al yad nevio netman beito lo yachalifael v'lo yamir dato le'ohu lahamim lezulato sofeh v'yodea sitareinu mabit l'sof davar b'kadmato Gomer le'ish chesed kemifalo noten l'rasha ra kerishato ishlach l'ketz yamin meshichenu liftot mechakeketz yeshuato meitim yichayael b'rov chasto baruch atehiyad shem zehilato meitim yichayael Berov chasto baruch adeyat shem tehilato. Thank you very much, guys. Please join us for dinner. If you did not check in at the front desk because we were a little late coming down, if you would please go see Ella, who's right there. I may have her meet us outside as well. Shabbat shalom.